and recalled Jim Jones's podcast appearance last year, in which he claimed that Chrissy held me down through everything. He didn't know about Reggie, the baby who calls. Or at least he didn't know until today. So he called her his day one bro. Not only is this unpleasant, but it might also be against the law, since Chrissy might be punished if the court finds that the video is authentic. For handling a prison call, lying, concealing evidence, and possibly even running the risk of a federal investigation, like going to therapy with her ex-boyfriend. But guess what? Just as court was about to start, a man's spirit left his body live in court, not on television or in a film, due to the events that took place between Jim Jones Camron and Chrissy Lampkin destroyed hip-hop's reputation like a wrecking ball through Velvet, not just by dominating the trial. Imagine this Camron holding a USB like a CIA agent and strutting into court like a red carpet star. One click of the level top secret drop instantly fills the courtroom with Chrissy's prison calls, perfectly clear and loud. 2 minutes in, Jim Jones collapses as if someone had abruptly cut him off. In actuality, what was on those tapes? And who? Why did Jim Jones crumble? As if the truth had blades. And what the devil was she talking to in the dark? Oh, we're not merely. We're dissecting this, layer by layer, exposing legal sabotage, anonymous, leaks, a mother's fury, and the public death of a Harlem legend is not rumors. It is open conflict behind closed doors. And trust me when I say this, is not just scandalous, but it's also heartbreaking. Shakespeare in the Trap, deceit, and a courtroom filled with receipts. Wait a moment, because this train accident didn't begin with a judge's ruling. Instead, the courts have been the sole hip-hop producers' final act of this tragedy, in which they eat their fingernails and dips while their fans suffer. Jim Jones, Chrissy, and Camron are involved in a love triangle of secrets, and they never signed up for Route 3 Legends. Nobody anticipated this Harlem horror tale, which, let's face it, was about loyalty and duplicity as much as love. According to a judicial leak, leverage caused the dominoes to fall in this way, and you already know someone was snitched, for prosecutors had been surreptitiously monitoring Chrissy's enigmatic discussions in the jailhouse from. It turns out that the jail sentence she received for the tax incident last year was merely a smokescreen, but the plot twist: Camron obtained Chrissy's private tapes from jail in some way. Some people think he ripped off a guard, while others claim that he has been accumulating evidence since Obama's first term. Patiently, for these sources claim that Chrissy's voice could be heard over the courtroom speakers, but she wasn't talking about legal issues. You read that she was whispering lovely nothings to a man named Reggie, not defending herself or calling her parents. Indeed, who the devil is Reggie from the tape? He was her savior and her fallback option, and he was the one who was aware of the pregnancy. Not a twist, but a man who never passed judgment on her and refused to let her suffer in prison. Like Jim Jones, do not be misled. This was not a TikTok drama. Reporters, a full jury box, and even Mona were present. Scott was sitting in row 3, shooting with her phone out at the same moment Chrissy said, "Jim Jones, never learn about Reggie Boom." Jim Jones drove into court wearing shades and dripping like Harlem royalty leather. Looks like he was prepared for a photo shoot with his chain locked. But as soon as Chrissy's voice was heard, Reggie. According to one witness, it seemed as though someone told Jim Jones that he hit the ground as if a ghost had passed through him. His whole life was a roller coaster. One moment he was resolute, the next he was in the news, and the judge was called. Chrissy didn't blink as he left the room, and Cam leaned back as if he had just made the game-winning basket at Madison Square Garden. Additionally, keep in mind that Camron and Jim Jones haven't been cool in decades. This wasn't only petty. This wasn't chess. It was checkmate. Calculated. Cam didn't show there to expose Chrissy. Instead, he went to Jim Jones. Let's examine what Chrissy Lannon actually stated throughout those talks. The first call was placed 48 hours ago. Chrissy Lannon told Reggie Jim Jones when she was imprisoned, "I'm in here fussing over him, but he never really, even worse if they test the baby's DNA. Knew me, you always kept things real. It's finished." But Jim Jones just performs and says it on tape without asking any questions. "You want me to type what?" the stenographer asked. Pausing as Jim Jones, Chrissy Lampkin Cam, played a fourth call as I was being checked for vitals. She had been waiting to watch me fall since 2012. So let him to translate. She was aware of the impending storm and was relieved at the end of the hashtags, such as "Shuck Reggie," were all over the place, exposing wobbly-free Jim Jones and soccer. Chrissy Lampkin files. Fans who aren't sure whether to laugh or cry cancel their HBO subscription, since this courtroom drama featured more heat compared to a June-ver. And just when you thought it was finished, Jim's mother showed up. When she learned why her child fainted, Chrissy Lampkin should act like the final boss in a battle game. Have twice been represented when Mama Jones entered the room, changed the court, and the police officers' phones froze, and someone was dropped. Claimed to have heard a choir in the background, and the clock struck the hour. I'm merely stating that allegedly since the in-trial video, Mama Jones strode directly toward Chrissy Lampkin, slapped her firmly, and said nothing. One individual in the courthouse claimed that the echo bounced back from the walls, as though it were official proof. It sounded like lightning striking the building, and everyone instantly halted. But Chrissy Lampkin didn't react, simply blinked slowly. But after Mama Jones slapped him, this is where things start to get strange. Mike dropped Chrissy Lynn, and she didn't respond. She just lied about the baby without yelling or providing an explanation. Sent the judge a look that said, "So you're not going to cover?" But don't put Mama Jones in irons and hope she doesn't flip the full buck, even if the judge was shaken. Courtroom security hurried in to swiftly separate them, but by the time Jim Jones got there, it was already too late. Chrissy Lampkin was already popular in the medical area, and memes were going viral, like she was shown in jail in Wildfire 1 with the caption, "So, Reggie, do you have a narrative line or not?" A fake quote that read, "I've been waiting to do it since 2009, was displayed in another picture of Mama Jones. But wait, when the court reconvened, this wasn't even the most outrageous portion. Later that day, the prosecution rejected all 4 of Camron's jail calls, including 2 brand new ones. Chrissy Lannon may be heard saying, "Reggie, I've been cleaning up after Jim Jones, so if I go down, I'll be dragging him with me, years." Hold on, does that imply that the prosecution didn't spend any time and sprinted with it as if it were a touchdown, according to insiders? And Chrissy's legal team attempted to block the movie, claiming she was ranting and emotionally strained, but the DA claimed that it suggested something much more serious, possibly tax fraud. Things, including the misappropriation of funds for hip-hop production and love, which is why it's gone to court. According to sources, records from Season 3 demonstrating Chrissy Lampkin's identification as a creative consultant and payment for a leaked document that surfaced on her former Twitter minutes after the court hearing reveals that she didn't even show up for worse. Guess who co-founded the company that distributed more than $75,000 in incentives? Hustle Forever Entertainment, LCT hat business. Jim Jones is starting to seem more than simply a love romance. Complete reality TV fraud case, including fake companies, dubious producers, false job titles, and the DA they're investigating in depth. There are rumors that a covert internal investigation has started, and Mona Scott herself is among the names that are emerging. The money, which is said to result in a never-shot spin-off series. Chrissy's lawyers tried to stop Camron. Camron stood up on the witness stand and let it all out after the judge rejected his claims that he was biased and spiteful. I know I kept quiet out of deference, but when I witnessed Jim Jones treating her like a victim, he claimed she had been running game from day one, which isn't love and is a lengthy scam, and he couldn't let it go. Cam hit him with another bomb before the defense could even dispute. And she told me that she was done acting in 2018. The entire courtroom gasped. Even the judge, when she said the relationship, but I didn't realize she also meant the baby. Jim Jones had returned to the courtroom by that time, pale, silent, and distraught, just sitting there when he decided to stop and call for recess. Chrissy Lampin didn't glance in his direction once, and his eyes were down like a man seeing his entire life fall apart in real time. There was a stir outside the courthouse as she and her lawyer continued to talk, as if they were disputing a parking ticket. We yelled, "Mama Jones was lying," as demonstrators carrying signs that said, "Justice for Jim Chrissy Lampin lied." True. And the blogs, well, they exploded in the dark room. Not just caught fire. Hollywood went into full-fledged crisis mode after the Baylor alert, releasing exclusives every 5 minutes, as if it were, we already knew Chrissy Lampin, the hip-hop producer who leaked to a tabloid, and one nameless former love were brought back to life by the OJ trial, played chess. But we were unaware that she had manipulated the board. Remy Ma even reportedly posted disparaging remarks before removing "You don't give jailbirds a microphone" because of their mysterious Instagram story. And let's not even discuss the fans' Twitter exchange. I knew she was shady the day she got down on one knee, someone stated in a digital combat zone. Since 2010, Jim Jones has been going through a difficult time, while Camron is deeply went live outside the courthouse, smiling, and captioned video, "I don't miss this," during his petty villain period, wasn't merely a contentious legacy assassination. Jim Jones is a Harlem landmark, not just a budding rapper. The man who brought us We Fly High, a diaper monarch, is currently in the news for his betrayal, deceit, and scandalous actions. The most horrifying aspect of it is that it's not over yet. As the DA recently disclosed, new witnesses are scheduled to testify next week. And if even a small portion of the accounts are true, we'll be investigating further. Instead of tabloid drama, we're discussing wiretapping, perjury, and heat fraud, all of which were brought on by a single jailhouse chat. Reggie, who likely fixed his mufflers at AutoZone, had no idea that he had become into one of Harlem's most despised, and because of new evidence and numerous charges, people thought things couldn't get any dirtier. Yet Chrissy Lampin is circus security, is currently under formal investigation for conspiracy to commit fraud and obstruction of justice. The judge slammed the gavel as if she were calling Game 7, as the racers surged in, screaming, but that fainting episode was fans are furious over Act 1 and what follows, with old friends wondering what's real and what's a setup. And after the smoke clears, who's left standing? This isn't your average reality TV disaster. This is a multi-million-dollar collapse, with the love and hip-hop empire dangling on a thread, reputations collapsing, and legal vultures swarming. Well, let's examine what comes next. Trust me, it's not just unpleasant, it's a career-ending situation. First and foremost, It's not shocking that the feds have officially started an inquiry and are no longer just watching. Considering those jail calls, the court was filled with discussions about hush money conspiracies and unpleasant secrets. It wasn't simply hearsay, became evidence that the FBI's cybercrime division is already pursuing a person with knowledge of the situation. Said, "We're looking at wire fraud obstruction and tampering if they link, not just phone calls." When Jim Jones was unconscious, the courthouse floors will roll. Some people think Camron timed the leak to promote himself as the truth because he was too busy playing puppet master, retelling of this entire convoluted story. But Chrissy's side won't have it and is accusing Camron of illegally because she obtained the videos and violated her privacy rules. Chrissy's legal team has previously alluded to a countersuit alleging intentional emotional injury, slander, and harassment. Even Chrissy's attorneys called it a desperate move by someone who was enmeshed in the same lies. Yet this is where, according to a number of legal experts, Camron might have simply played it smart. By dropping those, the prosecution shifted their focus from Jim's guilt to the person responsible for this entire situation. After calls in open court, suddenly, the streets are consuming it on Twitter, and it's not about who lied, but rather who covered it up. Gone viral with hashtags like Char Justice for Jim Cameron's revelations and Sherry Gate, as fans around the world are divided more than ever before the battles, memes, theories, and chaos. One widely shared tweet states, "Jim Jones fainted. Cam just destroyed the home of Chrissy after realizing that his entire career was based on her lies." Cards. Another fan made a slow-motion TikTok of the cartoon Jim Jones collapsing to opera music, and it has already received millions of views. Other celebrities are also contributing, offering their smooth criticism. Some people surreptitiously unfollow others in interviews in an effort to avoid being discovered in the blast zone. And this conflict isn't sponsors, are only providing emotional support, and marketers are concerned that the love and hip-hop brand has claimed to have lost millions in retail sales, sponsorships, and collaborations since the controversy. No brand wants their name associated with this level of poison. It's PR suicide, a marketing team source told us. Even Jim's own income is declining, and we're losing money. Bookings and endorsements are also declining. Chrissy Lamine has left, but promoters are vanishing, and the fallout is awful and rapidly becoming worse. Some believe her tactic is to hammer out a plea because she has been silent and made no public statements or interviews. Deal switching on a bigger player, or is her team prepared to defend themselves? One thing is for sure though, she isn't finished, and neither is. Nevertheless, Chrissy's supporters come out in force, beginning intense online campaigns to bring back. According to Chrissy's image, she's only the next victim in a spread of muck campaign that jealous insiders came up with, had secrets to keep, and scores to settle. Ignore the noise, and let's talk. Regarding the peculiar ticking time bomb children said in such prisons discussions, if that paternity dispute erupts into yet another court battle, and those DNA results leak, bro, we're looking at this isn't a full-scale media earthquake. On steroids, reality TV is like a soap opera, while complete terror behind the scenes. Insiders assert that the entire Love and Hip, the production crew is spinning. Meetings for emergencies, damage control, and hushed discussions of delaying it, perhaps giving up on the future entirely. Seasons, music, and one anonymous A crew member expressed it plainly. They are discussing massive cast purges, screenplay revisions, as well as a full restart. But let's be truthful, is there anything pure in the air? This mess, and if the series doesn't work out, won't only be celebrities who take the blame. Hundreds of local employees, companies and complete production groups will be free of their baggage. The consequences are severe, so be careful, as this legal dispute is exclusively warming up sealed records could allow them to get out. Courtroom battles are becoming more frequent, worse, and social media is just stoking the fires. To be honest, this entire story simply rewrote the celebrity meltdown. Textbook emotional collapses, betrayal and incarceration, calls DNA drama, and Jim Jones is indeed in tears. This couldn't be written on TV, catastrophe if you attempted. And right when you felt the rumors couldn't get any more repulsive, that a whistleblower from the street, the cast members list has been made public by VH1. You have been subpoenaed. Now is your time to identify the name that was highlighted in. Camron was a genius for dropping red. Did he cross a line with those jail calls? That may go wrong. Is Jim Jones hiding something sinister? Or was that fainting moment is only the start of a further collapse and Chrissy's situation, a pawn or puppet master in Lampins? The I want your sexiest ideas. Crossfire. Don't hesitate to tell me in the comments, whom are you supporting and who is receiving revealed next? And what turn of events do you think is going to turn this story on its head? And if you're shaken by this drama, hit that like button as if it were due to you. Sign up for child support and make sure that bell syncs. Trust me, tea is still steeping. And we have only just begun. This is more than just a dispute. History is being made, and you're correct. I'm here for every single damn drop I make.